Hey, Scott, Sambucci here. And yesterday by the way, I'm in my garage for a reason. I'll get to that in just a minute. Yesterday in our coaching program, so we run a coaching program called Startup Selling, which is for B2B tech startups to help them ramp up and scale up their sales. Every Tuesday, one of the things we do in the program is every Tuesday we run what's called an open forum call. And in that open forum call, we had what our team afterwards called an important coaching moment. An important coaching moment. And I want to share that moment with you and give you some context from what I call lessons from the trail. So I'm going to bring this all together for you in just a couple minutes time. So by the way, if you're watching this LinkedIn live, welcome. Good to see you. If you're watching the recording, just go ahead and hit the like or share button. Or if we're not connected on LinkedIn, make sure you send me a connection request so you can get updated every time we do more of these lives. So here's what happened yesterday, and this is why we called it a coaching moment, and why it's important to think about this question: where is your garage? Right. So yesterday in our open forum call, I was sitting there with a couple of our team members, and we're waiting for some of the clients to show up. It's open forum; everybody can come in. We do them in small groups so people can learn from each other and hear each other's questions. And it's been kind of a slow couple of weeks because it's summertime. We've done lots of trainings. We did a live event for our clients, an online event recently. So I've been giving them a ton of help in some other ways. And so sometimes in those ebbs and flows, the coaching, the open forum calls, we have fewer people that show up. It's just sort of a natural ebb and flow in our program. And about 10 minutes into the open forum call, we had one of our clients show up. And I said, hey, good to see you. How are things? And it turns out this person is on the other side of the world. So this call for us is at 11 o'clock a.m. on Tuesdays, California time. This person is in Pakistan, and he works with a startup that's based in Silicon Valley, and he's helping run sales. He's a sales manager there. And I said, hey, remind me what time it is. He said, well, it's 11 o'clock at night here. And good job hopping on. And what's up, man? How can we help you today? What's your question? And he said, well, I don't really have a question. I like to jump on these calls just to hear what other people are working on, what other questions people have. And so I don't really have a question to work on. And I said, okay, that's cool. You don't always have to have a question. But why don't you just tell me what are some of the things that you're working on right now? Like, what's your top priority over the next, say, 4 weeks? Where's your main focus? What's driving your day-to-day work every day? And he said, well, one of the things that I'm doing is, because of your help, we've gotten these 5 pilots up and running earlier in the spring. Several of those pilots are now converting. The end of the pilot program is coming up in the next 6 weeks over these 5 programs. These 5 pilots we're running, and we're starting to have those conversion conversations. So I'm working on getting those pilots converted. And I said, okay, that's cool. So what's the strategy that you're thinking about taking right now? And then we can make some adjustments to it. And that conversation led to 35 minutes of us basically mapping out the next 6 weeks over these 5 pilot conversations. So now he has a very specific plan of action for each of those 5. And we've wrapped up the call. He's like, man, that was super good. I'm feel really prepared. Next week, I'm going to follow up with you on some templates that I want to build out. So we gave him a homework assignment. We're going to check in next week. And, off he went back on his day. And I said, look, man, I want to acknowledge and appreciate the fact that you showed up today, because you said you didn't have a question, and you don't always have to have a question when you're coming to these calls. The point is that you made the time. It's 11 o'clock at night. You could have done something else. You could be going to sleep. You could be working on something else. And instead you chose to hop on this coaching call and take advantage of this, even though you didn't think you had a question, even though you did. And we got something really, really important done for you. And he said, yeah, thanks for that. I really appreciate that we were able to get this work done. And so, he left the call, and I was talking to our team, and I said, this is why, when you think about a coaching program and what we do, and you think about, tie this into where's your garage in just a moment. Having that system in place for you as a startup, if you're a startup founder or you're running sales, and you're doing sales calls every day, you're doing your prospecting every day, you're running your demos, you're following up with proposals you sent out, you're trying to get new customers onboarded, trying to get those final contract signed. You're trying to do the onboarding and the training and the implementation, all of those things. Every day feels like a race. You're literally racing every single day. Every call is another race for you. Like, you're getting into the field, you're making that phone call, you're sending out those emails, you're following up on proposals, you're doing those demos. Those are you taking the action. This is you like testing yourself. How are we doing? And that for me is like doing a race every single day. And what's important is that between those races, we've got to have a place, we've got to make the time in order to get better. And so for me, when I'm doing the long endurance races that I do, the next event that I've got planned on the calendar is for early October. And so between, my last race and this next race, I've got to train for that. Not every day can be a race when you're doing 100 miles or 200 miles. You can't do 200-mile races every day, of course. But between those longer stretches of those big races, I've got to train every single day. And for me, especially when COVID hit back in March, I made a commitment that no matter what was going to happen that day, no matter with the homeschooling, with work that had to be done, overtime I was putting in, supporting my wife to make sure that she got her work done every single day during lockdown, I committed to getting out here to the garage and doing at least a 10-minute workout. Sometimes it was an 8-minute workout. I literally would grab one of those kettlebells and just do kettlebell swings, or I'd get the weight vest on, or I'd just put some weights on the bar and just lift. And even if it was 8 minutes of burpees or box jumps or kettlebell swings, every single day I got out into the garage. And that for me became a metaphor for making time every single day to get better. Because even though it was locked down and even though every other race was getting canceled, I still made this promise and this commitment to get better. And at a minimum, at least sustain where I was. And even now, when I think about getting to the garage, this is my place to get better. And it's a metaphor, even though physically, yes, I'm coming out to the garage and yes, I'm lifting weight, burpees or, deadlifts or whatever it is. It's the commitment. It's having this place for me of getting better, making the time. I block out the time in my calendar. My team knows this is training time. This is running time. Even if it's in the middle of the day, sometimes the middle of the day is the only time I can get in the training that I want to get in, because it's, family time in the evenings. It's helping my son with schoolwork during the day, in the mornings. Sometimes I only have 45 minutes from 12 to 1 in the middle of the day. So I block that time out, and my team knows at work, Scott's got to get his time in. I know that that's my time. My wife knows that's my time. My son knows that's my time. Hey, son, Benjamin, I'm heading out to the garage. Okay, I'll be back in 45 minutes. Okay, Dad, I'll see you in a minute. See you in a little while, right? And so the reason I want to tie this all back, when I think about the work you're doing every single day, because you're out there running this race, you've got to make the time. You've got to find your garage to get better. And for that client, our coaching call, that open forum call that we did on Tuesday, that was his garage. He didn't necessarily know what he was going to be working on. He didn't even think he had a question or he needed anything specific. But because he made the time, because he saw that time on the calendar, and it's every Tuesday at 11 o'clock in the morning, it's in his calendar, he knows he can come into that call. That's his garage. That's his opportunity to get better. And even better for him, knowing that it's not just him doing it on his own, he's going to have a coach there. He's going to have a team that's going to support him to help him find those blind spots, to help him find what he needs to work on. He didn't know. He thought he had a plan for those 5 pilots, and he had he had some good ideas on how to do those conversions. Our job is to look at what he was doing and make it even better. And that's obviously the job of a coach. But it all comes back to the fact that he made the time. He found his garage. Those coaching calls are the garage. And so when you're out there every single day and you're running your race, you're doing the prospecting, you're doing the calls, you're doing the demos, you're following up on contracts, you're doing implementation, you're hiring, you're interviewing. It's easy to say, I'm too busy to make the time to get better. I'm too busy to do a training. I'm too busy to get some help. I'm too busy. You're too busy racing. But if you're racing and if you're not going back and figuring out what am I doing well? right now. I'm doing these prospecting calls every single day. I'm doing these demos every day. What parts of my demo are doing well, and where can I improve these? If my conversion rate is 25% at the bottom of my funnel, instead of saying, well, I guess I just need to get more leads in order to get more deals. Well, no, maybe you don't. Maybe all you need to do is adjust some things you're doing already, find some places where you need to get better, and maybe move that conversion rate from 25% to 33%, right? Those 8% differences means you don't have to get more leads. You just convert more deals at the bottom of your funnel, and that's going to help you grow sales, right? But if you don't take the time, if you don't find your garage, if you don't find your place to get better, to get help, to figure out what you're doing well, to figure out where you need to improve, then all you're going to be doing is running and racing and sort of hoping that you get to the finish line. So, it just really struck me in this coaching moment that we have with this client that it was really impactful for me as a coach to see somebody take advantage of that opportunity to get better, to have that routine. And so my challenge to you is, when you look at your days, look at your calendar right now, right? And if it's anything like my calendar, my calendar is just as busy as yours. It's ridiculous the way my calendar looks right now. We have color codes for different kinds of meetings and calls and coaching and training and prep, my personal stuff, all in one big calendar. It's insane, right? We all have this insane calendar right now, and it's even worse because of lockdown and everything else that's happening. Homeschooling, right? Work from home, all the pressures we're all feeling every day. But if you look at that calendar, and everything in your calendar is just a race, it's only a race every single day, every single hour is blocked out, and every hour, every meeting is just another race that you're doing. And you're not blocking out the time, even if it's an hour a week, to say, hey, this is the 1 hour where I'm going to take a look at my demo. I'm going to do a retro. I'm going to listen to that recording. I'm going to have somebody else listen to it with me and tell me where I can improve. I'm going to hop on that webinar. I'm going to get this training. I'm going to go find time with my team. And all of us together are going to do a retro of this call. If you're not making that time, you're never, ever going to get better. And worse, the general gets even worse on the negative side, because you're racing and racing and racing. You're not sure what you're doing well. You're not sure what you're doing not so well, where you need to improve. And what ends up happening is that you just burn out, right? Because you're racing all the time, right? You hustle and you hard work and you exhaust yourself. And then you realize, like, man, like I'm spent, right? And you're spent because you've been working too hard in the wrong directions, or you've been doing too many things that you don't need to be doing, right? So you've got to take that self-leadership. You've got to take that moment, pull yourself out of those races that you're doing every single day, every single hour, and look for opportunities to improve. So that's my question. That's my challenge to you, is like, where's your garage? Where's your garage every week? Where's your garage every day, if you need it every day? Because this is my garage. This is my place where I get away from the work stuff, get away from the stress of life. And sometimes it's 8 minutes. Other days it's an hour and a half, depending on what I have available to me. But every day I'm getting out here in the garage. And that's my lesson from the trail, because getting in the garage, like, these moments are what allow me to stay strong, get even stronger, so that when I set myself up for that next race, I know it's going to be not just a matter of hitting the finish line, but how fast am I going to be able to get to that finish line? So that's it. That's my LinkedIn Live for today. Thanks for watching. If we're not connected on LinkedIn, you're seeing this for the first time, absolutely send me a connection request, so that you can make sure to get notified every time we're doing these LinkedIn Lives. If we are connected on LinkedIn, leave a like or a comment. Share this with other people, because we just started doing these LinkedIn Lives last week. I'm going to be doing at least one of these a week, hopefully more, as I start to work this into my schedule. This is a new thing for us, the opportunity to do these LinkedIn Lives. And so as I start migrating and merging my schedule, taking out some things so I can make time to do this, I want to make sure to get these messages out to as many people as possible, including you. So the best way for us to do that is with your help, right? So if you can like or share or comment, just so that other people in your network see this, so that we can help them and help them find their garage, help them ramp up and scale up their startups. So, all right, that's it for now. I'm going to run.